us why you love self-storage. Come join us.
I love self-storage.
Yeah.
It's just become a part of my life. It really has. More than a career, because most of my good friends have come from self-storage. It's been such a blessing.
Yeah.
Not just a career blessing, but a blessing in life as well.
I love self-storage because of the people and the energy that they bring. I don't think I've ever seen an industry that's just this passionate about what they do, and there's always just something fun and exciting going on.
I'm so grateful. The community, the ISS, the SSA, all the associations have been, amazing. The friendships, and I have the privilege of, again, traveling to a lot of the state shows and the national shows. And again, it's just the community here is great, such as yourself, and this SBOA team has been amazing since they've come on the scene. I see a lot of amazing people doing amazing things, and it really inspires me to keep going.
To me, it's the people and the vendors and everything around. A lot of competitors, a lot of different solutions. Things are growing in the industry, but everybody is here to help each other.
Yeah.
What I like the most is, I think, the innovation. It's amazing. I love the innovation, and I really like the people.
Yeah.
That's what I like.
I love the people in this business.
Yeah.
There are so many good-hearted, true blue, nice people here.
Yeah.
The other people here who do what we do are our friends.
Yeah.
I love the fact that people need stuff, and the more stuff that they need, the more they need to store it.
Right.
And when people are storing their stuff, they need a hug.
Yeah.
They need love.
They do.
We help people through a transitioning time and provide a service directly to their door while enriching storage professionals with additional revenue.
What I love about self-storage is that you're always meeting new people.
Always.
I love to just have a conversation with people, hear their stories, hear about what they do, because there's so many different things in the self-storage industry that you can be into, whether it be software development, tenant and commercial insurance like what we do. There's a lot of different colors and mixes in the industry, so that's what I would love about it. And also the conferences have some great venues too. So that's always a good perk, right?
My favorite thing about self-storage would have to be the opportunity to work with powerful and supportive women like yourself and Iris and the rest of the entire industry as a whole. I think a theme for women in the industry is women empowering women. Very much comes across, whether you're a competitor or not even in the same technology or magazines or anything in the space. Everyone supports each other and is willing to help each other and provide feedback and resources. And that is huge in this space.
And probably the thing I love most about the industry is the people. You meet people from all over the country, all the vendors at these shows, your partners. They all have an interest in helping your business succeed and making the industry move forward. And everybody's kind of working towards the same goal. So that's been the best part.
In a world where brand experience is paramount, upholding your company's standards demands unwavering consistency in every location. At the SBOA, we understand the critical role consistency plays in driving your business's success. That is why we joined forces with MSI to introduce a revolutionary internal audit program tailored to meet the specific needs of your organization. Our game-changing audit program leverages cutting-edge technology and expert insight to bring you unparalleled accuracy and reliability. We know that success in this competitive environment is paved with adherence to operational requirements, and every company has its own standards along with state and local regulations to adhere to. So we've made our internal audit system completely customizable, all in a user-friendly app. The app enables on-site agents to collect real-time data and insights from their respective locations. This feature ensures that information is up to date and allows for quick responses to any issues or challenges that could arise. Our internal audit program also has advanced photo and video reporting capabilities. These visual reporting tools allow leadership to visualize non-compliant sites and gain a comprehensive understanding of the issues, with specific examples for clear context, which enhances communication and leads to faster resolutions. And it can be done with just a few clicks and the snap of a photo or quick video. And our program provides an in-depth understanding of each store's performance and challenges. This feature allows for a comprehensive assessment of how well each location adheres to operational requirements and brand standards. helping to identify areas for improvement. Are you ready to take your self-storage business to the next level? Explore our comprehensive suite of services, including internal audit programs, mystery shopping, and unlock your full potential. Contact us today to embark on a journey of excellence and success. 248-254-9000.
Are you a self-storage owner or operator looking for service providers to help at your facility? Well, the Storage Business Owners Alliance, also known as the SBOA, has you covered. The SBOA is a premier online hub for connecting self-storage owners and operators to industry-leading products and service providers. We provide one-stop shopping for your business with exclusive offers to save time and money. At the SBOA, we believe by coming together, we help owners and operators grow revenue, gain purchasing power, reduce expenses, improve efficiencies, and increase profitability. We also offer many resources such as our conferences and Self-Storage Unlock webinars to help self-storage owners and operators gain the knowledge needed to become more competitive in the industry. To become an SBOA member or to find out more information, please visit www.thesboa.com today. We can't wait for you to join the Alliance.
Good morning, everyone out there in self-storage land. I'm Iris Segan, president of the SBOA, and I'm so glad you're joining us today for Using AI to Outsmart, Outstore, and Outprofit. Today, we're going to dive in to how AI tools are already making a difference in self-storage, cutting costs, leasing units faster, and empowering smarter decisions. And we've got 3 amazing experts here to walk us through it. We'll go about 60 minutes with a panel discussion, then move into the 30-minute extended Q&A. That's a session exclusively for our SBOA VIP members. If you're not a member yet, you can still sign up. Just go to www.thesboa.com/membership, and you can become a member right now. And you can ask questions in the chat at any time. I'll get to as many as I can live. If we do miss your question, we'll follow up via email for all registered attendees and VIPs. You'll also, if you are registered or a VIP member, you'll get the replay by email after the session is over, probably tomorrow or Monday. And you'll get, excuse me, if you're the VIP membership, you'll also get access to the full 90-minute replay, including that extended Q&A at the end of the show. Oh, and once again, we are giving away a $20 Starbucks gift card today to the most engaged participant. That means answering polls and asking great questions, so please don't hold back. We'll announce that winner at the end of the program. So right now, I'm going to make sure everybody's here. My first guest is ready. I'm going to bring him up. We have Dan Cosgrove from MSI. Dan, how are you today?
I am fantastic. I can.
Great.
Can you hear me? Yes, I can. That's great. Dan, tell everybody a little bit about you, what you do in self-storage, and what you do with AI.
Okay. Well, in general, I'm just a great guy, so we'll start with that. I am CEO of Mercantile Systems. We've been around since 1954. We started in mystery shopping, and we've been in the self-storage industry, mystery shopping, that industry for some 20 plus years. And most recently, we've brought in a whole host of AI tools. We're situated in the backyard of AI, San Francisco Bay Area. So super excited to share with you some things that are going on today in that world.
Great. And we are always excited to see you and have you here. I'm going to take you off for just a minute while we introduce the rest of our guests, and we'll see you back in just a minute or two. Next up, I have Luke Shardlow, CEO of AI Lean. How are you today, Luke?
Doing well, Iris. I got to say, I love the cartoon Iris in all the intro movies. It's my favorite.
We have so much fun making those. And when we have time, we try to make one of all of our panelists too. So the next time you're on, we'll have to make sure we have one for you as well.
That sounds good.
Luke, tell everybody a little bit about you, about AI Lean. And I mean, the AI is in your name, right? So tell us how you use AI.
Yeah. So, I'm relatively new to storage. You all have given me a fantastic welcome over the last 18 months. Very happy to be here. AI Lean is a company that deals with delinquency management and collections. As you mentioned, AI is in our name, and we like to think of ourselves as an AI forward company, and we can talk a little bit more about that later.
Great. Well, thank you for being here today. We'll see you back in just a minute after my next panelist gets introduced. And next up, last but not least, we have James Brunick from StoreTrack. James, how are you today?
Hi, Iris. I am doing great. Thank you for having us.
That's great.
A little bit about StoreTrack and kind of what we're working on is we've been in the data collection business since about 2014 for anybody that's not familiar with us. So we have a rich historical database which helps operators not only see what happened in the past, but also what's going to be happening, help to predict what's moving forward in the future. We help operators and developers alike. And we have some tools I think we'll share today that'll be exciting for people who probably don't have access to like a large scale data team, but still want to stay competitive. So very excited to share some new news that we're going to be releasing some updates in the next few weeks. So.
Oh, I love new news and exclusive. All right. Well, let me bring up Luke and Dan again, and we'll go ahead and get started. Our first topic is going to be boosting team performance with AI. So we're going to start with people. AI isn't just about automation. It's about helping operators train better, coach smarter, and drive accountability across the team. With that, I'm going to introduce our first poll to everyone. You'll see, you can just answer in the chat for us. Do you currently use mystery shopping or any kind of employee evaluation tool at your facility? Okay, Dan, your company leads the SBOA mystery shop program for us. How are you using AI to help operators turn shop data into meaningful employee development?
All right. Great question. How much time do I have, Iris, to speak?
I'll let you have all the time you want. I'm sure everyone will speak all day if we want them
to. I'm not that entertaining. Let me say this first. I was on the call yesterday. Sam is one of our first clients that picked up on this program that we're doing. We download all their call center calls. And I was talking to Lauren, and I said, how's it going? And we see it in the performance, but we talked verbally. And she said, the quote was, they are soaking it up. And it was such a unique quote. I've never heard quite that word, soaking it up. And the team members are soaking up the AI training. And so whether it's mystery shopping using recorded calls, recorded interactions personally, your call centers, downloading all those recordings, we use AI to strip out the sales and leads or whatever, could be accounting, whatever you're concerned with, score it against your playbook, and then build custom AI training videos and custom AI role practices to that specific situation. So a team member is talking with a customer, selling them, going through your sales playbook. And the AI is going to listen to that. And then it's going to provide a video based on that interaction. And it's going to provide a role practice that's going to allow your team member to go back and forth with the AI based around a topic of that conversation. And finally, I'll finish. What's really cool and which is amazing today is when I talk about the role practice, we're going to capture what's said. And so I'd say the first time in history, which I'm just going to say that it's kind of a marketing thing. You can say whatever you want, I think. But we know what is in the mind of the team member, because if we ask them, please tell us about how you deal with the administration fee. The team members are going to tell us something, and we're going to capture that. And we're going to be able to go back and say, hey, the last 100 people we listened to, this is what they said. Is that in alignment with what you're asking them to do? And sometimes it's legalities and things like that. So it's some amazing, amazing stuff that's going on in the space of AI. And we're staying in our space and our lane and bringing some really neat stuff, which we'll share more as we go on.
You absolutely are. And I want to let everyone know, stay tuned to the very end, because as we close out today, we're going to show you an actual live video of Dan's program where you can actually see the undercover camera, and then you can see the AI trainer, which looks like an actual person talking to you about, what the person, how they could improve, or, what they did right, what they did wrong, and how they can improve. And it's really interesting to see. Luke, do you see crossover between automation and internal team productivity, like reducing workload or improving consistency?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think, you've hit on two of the big pillars for why you as an operator would want to consider integrating automation and AI. I mean, from a productivity perspective, we always counsel customers to think about how you can use automation, and certainly, our products help with this, how you can use automation to remove that monotonous, maybe repetitive work that has very specific constraints around when and where, because it's not so much necessarily about driving down direct costs, but what that does is it frees your teammates up to focus on more revenue generating activities, right? So they can be focusing more on community outreach, or thinking about reviews and responding to reviews, right? So you've got that time back, which is just phenomenally valuable. On average, we see customers save about 20 hours per facility per month, right? So yeah. And then from consistency, I mean, especially in a regulated process, like anytime you're dealing with collections or delinquency, you always got to be thinking about, all right, are we doing everything by the letter? And not just because you want to stay in compliance and treat your customers well, but also because it delivers you better results, right? So the consistency of automation in our products improves the results you see out of this, right? So customers see better collections, they see massively reduced delinquency overall. So 100% you've hit on the two principal dimensions there, Iris.
And I think too, you guys save the legwork on learning every state law about liens, right?
Correct. Yeah.
That reduces some mental overwhelm as well, which I think is fantastic. I'm sure we'll get into that in a little bit.
Yeah.
James, can data analytics actually help site managers make better decisions day to day?
Absolutely. One of the things when it comes, especially to any type of rate management or something of that nature, using data to actually make those decisions obviously can help, and especially if you have some context to it as far as like historical rates, seasonality trends, occupancy statistics, and it takes the guesswork out of, rather than just looking at competitors' websites and say, okay, this guy's at this price, but not really fully understanding the context. And that's where StoreTrack tends to blend all of these features together, where we let operators, we're going to show the marketing scorecard. One of the first questions that always comes up, I get asked repeatedly, weekly, where do you think my rates should be? That is a very loaded question because there's so many different things that factor into it. Marketing being one of them. If you don't have the activity, the rate data isn't going to help you. The other thing we do is we collect all that data. So, for example, you can get a report literally now in minutes, or just visualize it on your dashboard and see what's going on and see the trend over the last 30 days, 90 days, 60 days, to give you some context. Also, how many operators are offering that particular unit size? Maybe you have a unit that everybody else is sold out of, or maybe has some unique features. Having all of that data, dovetailing on what Luke said, it just saves people time and it takes the guesswork out of it.
Well, we definitely love that. And that kind of brings us into our second topic, which is smarter collections with automation. AI is transforming collections by helping operators reach tenants faster, more often, and more effectively. We talked about making sure you know the right laws in your town or your state. And so without overloading the manager, again, we don't want to put too much on the managers. We want them to stay around for a long time and be happy and healthy, right? And so I'm going to take that to our second poll question to our audience. What's the biggest challenge in the collections process that you face? And please answer in the chat. That's for your chance to win that $20 Starbucks gift card. We want to buy you a coffee. Luke, how does AI Lean use automation to reduce delinquency and streamline that tenant outreach?
Yeah, thanks, Iris. I think you sort of touched a little bit on this in the last question you asked around consistency. And so, what we do is provide a state-by-state custom-built workflow for your portfolio. And that workflow is going to differ state by state. It's going to adapt to the requirements of your specific business. And by setting up these workflows in this manner, we are automating the end-to-end cycle. So we not only pick up the compliant communications, but we tie that all in with the early collections. And it sounds like James is going to announce some product stuff, so I may as well do the same. We've just added robocalling to our suite of outbounds, and so you can chat with our team. So now we offer voice, text, email, and obviously postal mail. But back to the question about automation. Once you've structured that and you've set it up for your business for that state, it's going to run the same way every time, every month, every week. You're going to get the same text out at day 3 if that's what you desire for your collections process. And you're not going to be reliant on folks getting overloaded. Maybe there's some lease up happening, or you're not going to get overloaded by other tasks. So I think just circling all the way back to that consistency and repeatability are what really drive value.
Great. James, is there any data correlation between pricing behavior and late payments that operators should be watching?
One of the things, and this is kind of not really, I guess, totally store track related, but just going back into my personal history working in the industry, one of the things that we've noticed, or from an operations perspective, is when rates tend to become very low, you tend to attract very price sensitive shoppers who may be tight financially, and occasionally we've seen where that becomes kind of an issue, especially when it comes to the collection side. So there is a little bit of a correlation between running low rates or extreme discounts for great periods of time, and I think a higher collection.
That kind of makes sense. I can see how those might correlate. Dan, how might AI help staff handle tough conversations and delinquency more effectively?
Yeah, it brings me back to when we were doing some traditional training with some of our storage clients, and we had a team member who was really good at training, and she'd always ask them, what's your biggest frustration? And the team members would always say, oh, the customer's being angry, coming in being angry. Always the same thing. And she had asked, how often does that happen? And they're like, once or twice a month. It was like the very minimal amount of times, but that's what stuck with them all the time. And so where AI, and I'll speak to actually role practice, I think can be a huge benefit is you can build a role practice around an angry customer and coach the team member. The team member gets to actually role practice back and forth with the AI on how that customer's being dealt with and handled. And I'll say the other part that's really amazing with the using the AI in these spaces is one of our other clients in another industry, they have what's called a rate buy down. And this is kind of going to what Luke was talking about. They have a rate buy down, and it's regulated how it has to be said. And typically when you do a mystery shop, it asks, did the team member talk about the rate buy down? Yes or no? And you'd say yes. Well, we started listening to the actual interactions on how that team member was talking about the rate buy down. And we realized they're saying it wrong. They're not doing it properly. They're not falling within the regulations. So when we talk about things like collections and things, the other thing that AI allows you to do, and a role practice specifically, is be spot on with how it needs to be said. Because you can have the interaction and you'll say as a team member, da, 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 and the AI is going to go, great, you did this good, but this is what needs to be said. Let's try it again. Let's try it again. And they can do that as many times as they want. So whether it be collections or some other touchy subject, the technology today, massively better than an LMS.
Yeah, it's amazing. If everybody just signs up for your 3 programs, their processes are going to be so streamlined. They're going to be amazed at what happens. I would imagine within 30 to 60 days, they would start seeing a difference. So let's talk about AI-driven pricing and revenue strategy. Revenue is all about timing and responsiveness. And of course, AI-powered tools give operators real-time data and make better pricing decisions, as James talked about already. Poll number 3 for everybody. How often do you adjust pricing at your facility? Weekly, monthly, once or twice a year, or you don't? That's a little scary for me. James, how does StoreTrack use AI to help operators identify and act on those pricing opportunities? You talked about it a little bit already.
Sure. So one of the things especially for smaller operators, or even, and again, I shouldn't say just smaller operators, but even the larger ones, monitoring those rates, setting up alerts that can help you, automated alerts that will let you know when a price changes by a certain percentage. Reports where you can see are there any inventory changes that may impact. So for example, if there's only a few operators offering a particular unit size, should I adjust my pricing? Can I go up? We show trends so that you can see seasonality. And again, I show a lot of operators these tools. And what's always interesting, there are certain periods of the year that are very cyclical. This is a very cyclical business. So understanding those trends ahead of time, and it depends where you're at in the country. Not all of them are the same. So for example, in Florida, becomes more active, let's say in January, whereas if you're in the Midwest, it may become more active in May. But being ahead of that and being ready for that really is a huge factor, and staying on top of it. And again, we have people that monitor rates every day, and we have some that look at them weekly or monthly. But understanding kind of where that average is, and then where's the market low, where's the market high, who are my real competitors? We let you choose that. One of the other new tools that we're going to have with the new Optimize 3.0 platform coming out in the next couple of weeks, we're going to auto map your facility. So you can, before we would cover the benchmark units, let's say, and again, I have operators that have no traditional sizes. this will auto map that facility and then pull up all of your comps around you that have those same units. So again, it's more of an apples for apples rather than just this blanket strategy of, you know, where's that rate. And then on top of that, coming also before the upcoming SSA, we've partnered with a company called Visly, and this is where the AI for us is really going to kick in. One of the things we offer are a lot of reports, right? And people their eyes glaze over when they see these massive reports. It's like, what am I supposed to do with this? So Visly, you're going to be able to have a data analyst now take that and dissect those reports and say, hey, looking over the last year, you know, what is the average rate of a 10 by 10 in my market? Are there any competitors who are either consistently undercutting my price, or am I, you know, lagging behind the majority of the market? You're going to be able to ask those questions, and not only ask those questions, but you'll also it'll prompt you with maybe 3 additional questions that maybe you weren't even thinking about. Maybe you want to look at that data in a different way. That AI agent is going to sit on top of our platform to assist people who, and maybe you want to visualize it. Let's say you want to see it in a chart or a graph versus this endless spreadsheet of data, and it can dissect that data how you want to see it. So I think that's where the predictability, which is something we've always been great on, historical and real time. Now we're going to have that predictability to look what's it going to do moving forward. So very exciting. We can't wait to roll that out. That's going to be part of our Explorer program to begin with, but hopefully we're going to get that worked into Optimize for operators as well.
That's exciting. You heard it here, folks. You heard it here first. And James, just quickly, can you explain to people who haven't seen Optimize, how does that work? Like, they get that information, does it integrate into their system, or do they have to, you know, go and make changes themselves?
Currently, what it does is it's a platform that you enter your address in. So we're going to use your location as the subject store. We're going to show you all of the comps. We'll let you set up your market, so you can do anywhere from 1 to 10 mile radius. And then from there, you can pick. I always tell people, boil it down, pick your specific competitors, and then you have a dashboard. And the dashboard is an instant view of what's going on in the market. What's the market average? Where's my rank? Am I the highest price? Am I the lowest price? Am I ranked second, third, fourth? We're going to give you that instant visualization. And again, it's very easy to set up. You don't have to be a data scientist to run it. And then from there, there's all sorts of reports that you can automate. For example, the competitor shop. And this is the one that I really kind of always highlight for everybody. You can set up that comp report to come to your desk daily, weekly, monthly, whatever your preference is, whenever you want to review those rates. And again, there's no human error. And this is where we've kind of done the legwork over the years for operators. And again, when you're talking about AI, one thing I'd like to work in here real quick too. AI is a great tool, and you hear people talk about being able to analyze data quickly using some of the platforms out there. You still have to have the data set, and that's where StoreTrack has done the legwork. Right now, we're tracking a little over 70,000 facilities across the U.S. So again, you still have to build that database, and that's where we think we're going to help operators. We already have it, and now we're going to give you the tools to really dissect and analyze, especially your immediate market data. And again, like I said, the automated reports, completely time-saving.
Yeah, that sounds like a great time saver. Dan, does employee performance data ever influence revenue strategy, like conversion tracking or sales training?
Who knows, So, it's, who knows? It's like the conversation at the C-level table with marketing, like your marketing's not working. We're not getting any new business or of course it's working, but it's not because of marketing. But I'll say this is if it didn't, every company wouldn't have playbooks, right? Every call, you would let your employee just do what they want. And if they're not being measured, more than likely the call sounds like this. Customer calls, hey, I'm interested in storage. Okay, I got a 10 by 10 for $195 a month, $15 admin fee, $3 lot fee. And then that's it, right? And we hear that all the time from non-measured. So when you have a playbook and you want a customer experience to be something like questions, answers, build value, build trust, share this and that. So you take them through, then you have to say, absolutely, it has some effect. And I can say from experience, some years ago, I did a shop at a storage facility. I remember it was in San Jose, and the gentleman took me around, showed me the unit. Now, listen, I'm not in the market for storage. I'm doing a mystery shop. And he says, hey, we got a pulp mill over here, but when you get your stuff, you want to bag it. We've got the bags. And he went in the explanation about why and how. And I'm telling you, I almost wanted to rent the storage unit because he was so good. He was so good. And the funny thing was, it was an old facility. Like I think it still had like plywood countertops. Like the place across the street had granite. I would have rented from him because he was so good. I felt comfortable that the things that I was going to store were going to be taken care of. I trusted him. He built value and didn't drive straight into price. So, chicken and egg, I don't know, but everybody has it. And if you aren't measuring them, they're not doing it. And that's just kind of a fact. So I guess that's a long answer to say, yeah, I think it does.
I think you're right. Luke, can automation help with the market responsiveness, like adapting quickly to rate or demand shifts?
Yeah, so obviously not my current area of expertise, but I have dabbled in this space in a past life. I think James hit this on the head just from the data perspective, right? The point that I think here is important is, number one, the data is super important, as James covered. You need the data to make the right decisions. And with data comes scale. So you need a lot of data. You need a lot of data points. You need a lot of scale in any of these sorts of internal conversations or analysis. And you can't, the scale just makes it tough, right? Without automation and the modern tools, it's just not feasible to be really extracting the most out of your data or your partner, James's data without having that automation layered on top. I think I actually my background is technology, and I was probably Dan's neighbor out in the California Bay Area for a little while. So I've had a little bit of experience working with enormous data sets, and you just have to scale your automation in parallel with that data set, and what that means is, as Dan was talking about, it gives your people the time back so that they can invest in getting better at what they do best and deliver that customer experience and be focusing on the things that are going to turn the metrics. So that's probably what I would say about that.
Okay. We're going to talk next about getting started without breaking the bank. Of course, budgets are on top of everyone's mind right now, but you don't need enterprise software to start using AI. Let's talk about budget-friendly ways to start small and grow over time. So our fourth poll for you guys in the audience: how comfortable are you with AI or automation? And I want to remind the audience, this is your chance to ask your questions. Make sure you put them in the chat so we can ask the experts while we have them here. Dan, what's one low-cost, high-impact tool smaller operators should consider today?
I'll say YouTube. Go to YouTube, Google, how do I use AI? Spend 15 minutes listening to it. There's so many specialists out there that'll tell you, first of all, it's not hard, to understand. It's a little scary for a lot of people at first, but it'll guide you through, do this, do this, do this. And, to James and Luke talking about the data, you all have the data. It's understanding how to grab it and then use it properly. And I think, if I said, listen to some YouTube and then start playing with the different tools that are out there. You can build on this. And because there's no programming, you're not going to Python or having no R or anything like that. It's prompting and understanding how to prompt, how to put data in prompt. And in a short time, you're going to get really good at it. And because today, I had clients before that would look at a report and they would start drawing conclusions on it. And I'm like, oh, dude, the data point you're missing is how much data is making up that percentage you're deciding to make decisions on. Well, that was because they were manually doing it and they're interpreting it. They weren't specialists. They didn't understand the statistics or numbers or anything. But the nice thing is, again, with using AI and the things, if you do like that, it's going to recommend that and it's going to ask these things and it's going to take a lot of that learning curve out that maybe you don't have. And it's going to help guide you through that. So I would say YouTube, watch some videos, start prompting, start playing with it, spend 15 minutes a day. And in a short time, you're going to get really, really good.
Yeah, definitely. I was at the Michigan Summit on Monday, and Stacy Maxwell was speaking about AI there. And she made a really great point that when you're done asking AI a question, then ask them, how would you improve it? Because it's used to just answering what you ask it, right? And so that's another little quick tip on, if you're using that Chat GPT or something like that. And I saw an article recently on LinkedIn where they're saying there are whole new jobs for people now just who can work with AI, who know how to give those good prompts.
Yeah. My son works for a big company doing a chat bot for a big telco, and they just hired 32 more engineers for more chatbot. It's not even live yet because they know that this is where it's going. And so, yeah.
Wow, that's really big. Luke, what advice do you give to operators who want to start small but smart?
Yeah, I would say, I mentioned it earlier on, this idea of AI first, right? So there's a guy out here in Boston who is super smart guy, and he talks about this concept of AI first, where it's not like AI is going to replace us all, but the companies that are using and learning and staying on that edge are definitely going to replace the companies that are not. And so, with the idea of starting small, it doesn't have to be overwhelming. I think Dan was sort of alluding to this. You can get out there and think about all of the areas in my business that are causing me problems right now, my operations, or just taking up time. Just you can even just start thinking about just using the free tools that are out there. Like, ask GPT what you would do, what you would recommend. You'll be amazed at the kinds of answers you get, right? So how can you start leveraging some of these small tools just to get familiar and comfortable with what's out there? Can you do small trials with, companies like James's or Dan's? Are there ways that you can dip your toe in the water and start solving your real operational challenges? Because it's not about just using AI for AI's sake. How do you leverage it to solve real customer or operational challenges that you have? I think I'll leave you with a, given we're on the tips and tricks, a tip and trick that someone informed me about just recently. You can, if we're thinking about LLMs and prompting, you can actually tell GPT, you can say, whenever I ask you for something, don't execute that straight away. Instead, rank my prompt on a scale of 1 to 10. And if you score it less than 8, don't do what I've asked you to do. Instead, give me a better prompt. And you'll be amazed, right? I started doing this about 2 or 3 months ago. You'll just be shocked at how quickly you can improve the quality of output and how useful that output is and how many places you can use that. So that's, I'll leave you with that tip and trick.
That's a great one. I haven't heard that one before. It really does just it takes what you ask and turns it into an answer. So, you knowing the questions to ask is often the biggest thing.
Yeah.
James, next I want to ask you, for operators without a tech team, how can they start leveraging pricing intelligence in a simple way?
So for me, obviously, the easy answer is our optimized platform. Again, it's very inexpensive. We're talking about, in most cases, $50 a month. And one of the things people always ask me, what's the price justification? I said, if we help you rent one more unit a month, it's covering itself. So again, very simple, especially when it comes to the revenue management. We're going to take the guesswork out of it for you. And that's really kind of, where that time saving and, accurate information comes from. We collect data every single day. So again, we're not weekly or monthly or select group of operators. We capture it all. So that's one quick way. My other tip, what I would say, and like what Luke said, and Dan, you have to get started. AI is here, and it's not slowing down, not going away. The people that are going to be successful are going to be the ones that utilize those tools. And again, I read a article this last week where it kind of gave the age breakdown for people who are using it versus people who are not. And I can tell you that everybody has to get comfortable with it. And as Dan said too, there are programs out there. I can tell you, University of Wisconsin sends me different programs. They actually there's a 10-week AI program that really kind of dives into all of the things, including the marketing, including how to, best utilize those tips. So again, getting acclimated, getting used to it, but using the tools. The successful people are really going to be the ones that jump on this early and really kind of get the most out of it.
Yeah, and I think that's something we hear over and over again. Like, if you're not in it, get there. Like, start, take those baby steps, and you'll be amazed. I was actually, Dan is the first person who told me about ChatGPT about a year and a half ago. And I've named ChatGPT. I named it Charlie Chatlin. Have you named your ChatGPT? Anybody? I want to see the names in the comments. I think Stacy said she named hers Renee. So here are all kinds of names, but we'll move on to the next topic, and that is the future of AI and self-storage. Looking ahead, what will AI unlock next in our industry, and how can we prepare for the changes that are coming fast? We've been talking about it, for the hour so far. For the audience, your question is poll number 5. Which of these AI areas do you think will grow fastest in self-storage? Collections, pricing, marketing and lead follow-up, or hiring and training? James, what AI advancement are you most excited about in the next 1 to 2 years in self-storage?
Domestic robots. No. No, there's going to be there's going to be a lot of interesting things coming out. Like I said, the one thing that I think I'm most excited about is the predictive analysis that operators are going to be able to use. And again, it's not just on the rates. It's everything from behavioral training to especially like the lien laws, like what Luke does. I mean, having been an operator and operated in several different states simultaneously, all the different rules, having something that can correlate that all in one place, similar to just like what we do at the rates. It's just so much time saving. And again, it takes out the guesswork and it saves so many hours. So that's what I'm really excited about. I think there's going to be just some fantastic tools coming out that are going to give people that competitive advantage.
Yeah, that will be fantastic. Dan, how do you see AI shaping the future of hiring, training, and staff support?
Well, I mentioned LMS, learning management systems, and although when they had their place, today the challenge is, and two different clients in two different industries have just shared the same thing with me. They went to their LMS company and said, we need training on these topics, specific topics. The LMS company said, yeah, we'll get that to you next year, because they got to build a video and the this and the that and the this, and we can't wait. Like what industry are we in? We got to wait 6 months, 8 months. And so with AI, and Google just dropped Genie 3, which is allowing virtual reality and things. So I think the things that you're going to start seeing coming now is to be able to take and build virtual reality. So like, say we do a role practice, rather than just be a couple of dots in a conversation, we can build your place. We can take a picture of your place and build it in there and have someone walk around and have this actual interaction. How that's going to look and work, we don't know. Sometimes it sounds great, and then you realize, well, that's not as good as I want. But things moving so quick in this. ChatGPT just dropped 2 more models that are going to do all kinds of new things and different things. It doesn't mean you get all wrapped up into that. And I'll go back to AI allows real life interaction, real time, where LMS is very static. I call it one dimensional. If you do an AI role practice, it'll actually change almost every time you do it on that topic. So it's not always going to sound the same thing. Hi, Dan, let's do this. Hi, Dan, let's do this. Hi, Dan, let's do this. It's going to change. It's going to modify how you speak to it. So that part's there today, and that's going to just keep getting enhanced. The other part is team members are going to like it a lot better. And it already is, because so you have a district manager doing training, and you got 20 district managers. You got 20 different training styles. You got 20 different people that woke up today with 20 different personalities and things that went on the day before. So that training is going to be 20 different trainings to everybody they touch that day. And the inconsistency level is this. It's all over the place, right? Mm-hmm. So using the technology, we have a consistent method to deliver a wonderful message that's going to be static across the board in the aspects. It's what you want. And then you take those district managers who have deeper knowledge on how things need to be done, and you focus them on that. I call it the Chick-fil-A effect, right? We go to Chick-fil-A. It's like, how does Chick-fil-A people do so good, but when I go to McDonald's, I get yelled at for ordering a burger? And so sorry to use McDonald's names, but the reality is it's like you're across the street from each other. Well, Chick-fil-A has a great standard of process to do that. And so taking your district manager, your people, your trainers, whoever it is, dump that heavy lifting stuff, let the tools and techniques that are going on and focus them there. That's a lot of what I see is happening and gonna continue to change.
Yeah, absolutely. I like the Chick-fil-A method, by the way. Luke, are there any potential risks or ethics that we should keep in mind as AI tools get more advanced?
Yeah, I mean, this is a pretty substantial topic that, I don't think we really have the time to cover now, but I think there's a lot of stuff online, and there's a lot of smart people thinking about this. Some of the things around data bias, data privacy, training, but one of the, I think there's one piece of this that I will spend a little bit of time on, and that's it's a little bit of the unknown and a little bit of what I would just call the pace. So just a stat that I did a presentation down in Florida. I think it was ISS, maybe it was SSA, but the one of the slides I pulled together just talked about the speed that change is happening. And without scaring anyone, I looked at a few data points, right? I looked at how long it took for us to adopt the internet. How long did it take for us to adopt cloud computing? And then I plotted Gen AI adoption on that. And, I don't know if you're a visual person, but, just to give you the numbers. So to get to the roughly 40% adoption that Gen AI is at now, this is old data, so it's probably even higher now, but it took the internet 25 years, right? It took us 10 years in cloud computing to get to that same degree of adoption. And Gen AI, it was 2 years. So the rate of change is just mind-boggling. And the biggest risk I see, it kind of harks back to a lot of what James, Dan, and yourself, Iris, have been talking about, you've got to get in it to win it, right? The change is happening, and be on the forefront. Don't be on the back foot.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's going to be a running theme today. And so if you saw an operator that wasn't using any AI, what do you think is the one small change an operator could make that would have the biggest impact on their business? I'll start with Dan.
Oh, I'm sorry. I hiccuped. Can you say that again?
Oh, that's okay. What do you think? What is the smallest change someone could make with the biggest impact for their business?
Well, when Luke was talking, it made me realize. So there's a book I'm reading called Team of Teams, and it's by General McAllister, I think, and it's all about the speed in which things are happening and how management doesn't need to change, but how things are changing so rapidly, how you have to adapt your management styles to address this change. And because this general was in controlling and running the Iraq war and all that, it was their teams on the street that had to adapt because the current way wasn't working. They're getting beat. And so I think it's learning. I think right now it's learning. For me, it's learning. It's like, what is all going on? I mean, there's this massive change, but do I need to be on that cutting edge, or do I need to just do small things to make that to get moving? I can get caught in the hype. Like, oh, they dropped this, we need to do this, we do this. I got these young guys that I work with that do all this, and they get me all fired up. And I'm like, oh, back up. I've done this a little bit. We can take a step back, right? They thought when we built our tool, it was funny. You'll appreciate this, us being a little bit more around the block. Everybody's going to want it. Like, they're crazy. Everybody's going to want it. I'm like, oh, yeah, everybody's going to want it. Yeah, they're going to want it. They just ain't going to pay for it because you got 12 other things that are competing that are going on. And so I think it's learning. I think it's understanding where we're at, where it's going, the speed in which it's going, and how do I deal with it, not only internally, but with my teams around me, because we have to make some adoptions and adjust. And I think understanding that, at least for me, where I'm speaking, that's what I'm doing as the CEO of Mercantile, is information, learning, making some changes, what's going on, so I can implement, but not do it chaotically.
That's a good one. Luke, what do you think? What would you advise someone, like their smallest thing they could do with the biggest impact for their business?
Dan's a hard act to follow. I mean, that was a fantastic answer.
He steals everyone else's answers, I know.
Thanks for letting me go first.
I'd try and piggyback on his coattails a little bit, right? I think the next step to that is being open to change. So it's, I think being open to learning and participating in that process, right, is kind of step one. And then it's tough when you've done something successfully for so long. It's tough to think that there might be more, better, different out there. And we all suffer from that. And as we age, not that anyone on this panel is aging, but as we age, it does get harder and harder to adapt to change. And I think just be cognizant of that and reminding ourselves of that is super important.
Yeah, definitely. James, what do you say about smallest change, biggest impact?
I think, again, getting started. I don't think it has to be a all-encompassing endeavor, but I think find something where you think that this can help your business. I think the other thing too is to benchmark. Again, don't become overly reliant, but benchmark your success. And again, that may be, again, a tool that you can use to adjust your AI strategy moving forward. But again, staying on top of that, learning, getting started, those are really going to be the key points to get started with it. But as Dan said, having to adjust strategy and think that the world is changing. If you get stuck in that rut, we all see what happens to large corporations. Take Sears for example. Sears and Roebuck is a great example of a company that had just an incredible footprint, but didn't embrace technology. They really were old school and just never got out of that grind. So again, there's all sorts of examples of why you should, obviously pursue it. Start learning. Again, doesn't have to be gigantic steps. There's things out there that can get you started, and then benchmark your success, and then you'll figure out how to kind of tweak your approach.
Love that. I want to let the audience know we are at the 1 hour mark right now, but we are going to go ahead and let everybody stay on for the extra 30 minutes because we have so much great information to share with you. So whether you're a VIP member or not, please stay tuned. And we're going to go, and I want to encourage you again to make sure you're asking those questions. Aaliyah, you'll have to tell us in the chat who's in the lead. My guess is Learning and Development is looking at a $20 gift card. So you guys have another 30 minutes or so to get your questions in. Oh, yep, it's Learning and Development. If you want that gift card, start asking those questions for us. In the meantime, I'm going to ask questions for you. I would like to know if someone could automate, well, I'm going to skip that one actually. I want to say, what's one mistake operators make when they're implementing AI that you wish more people would avoid? And this time I'll start with James and I'll take Dan last because
what they would avoid, I think for one of the things that I think is the oversimplification. Kind of going back to what I had mentioned earlier, having a good data set for using those tools is important. Just using a random question with a random AI platform is going to get you random results. So make sure that you're, when you're using that type of data, make sure the data set that it's using to analyze or make recommendations is based on something that you can wrap your arms around, that is a trusted source, that kind of where that data comes from. So again, that's probably one of my biggest things I would say.
How about you, Luke?
Yeah, so the question was like, what's one mistake that you would counsel operators to avoid?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's very similar to anything with technology. Often the new shiny object comes out, and Dan's talking a little bit about this, and we're all looking for the nail. We're walking around with a hammer looking for a nail. I think it's super important to make sure you start with the problem you're looking to solve, and that you're focusing in on areas that are driving inefficiencies. And so, that's why for us, when we talk to prospects and customers, one of the huge advantages is of moving forward with our company and our products is, we do save so much time, right? So focusing on that output that is about saving time and giving hours back so that your people can be doing more higher value adding activities. Super important to start with that than necessarily a tool and work backwards.
Okay, Dan, lay it on us.
Got to dig deep.
No pressure.
Well, no, I would say don't think that just using Gemini or Chat or Copilot or Gronk is the solution. It's, a lot of times, I'll get a client, well, don't you just drop it in Chat? Like, that's what you do. No, it's engineered. We do some steep engineering to get out what we can get out, and it's not all perfect. So don't just think what we call just a wrapper, just throwing it all in is going to be it. It does take work. It takes people that know what's going on to get the good information out of it, And the other part I'll say is with the tools and all, what did I want to say around that? you know, when you, yeah, I'm kind of forgetting what I wanted to say on that exactly. Let me regroup and I'll come back and chime in a little more.
Okay, I'm going to chime in from a marketing perspective because so many people use ChatGPT, Copilot, you know, other programs for their marketing, and they don't actually look and make sure what it says. You know, when they ask for a social post or a blog or something like that, they don't actually even read it. They just post it. And, you know, a lot of times, many of us know from using AI in photos, we can spot those. Somebody has 6 fingers, or, you know, there's some kind of weird thing going on with numbers or writing in the background. The same thing happens in what it puts into a blog or a social post. It's like an extra finger. There's some kind of word salad that ends up in there, and you really have to make sure you read it. You also have to make sure sometimes ChatGPT or those other programs, they make up some statistics or quotes. And if you go back and you ask them, where can I find that? Where can I find that quote? Where do I find those statistics? It will say, oh, you're right, I made that up.
Yeah.
You know? So make sure you're double checking. You can even ask your program to check itself, because it's not always accurate. So make sure you're really double checking all that information. You have to be your own fact checker. I'm sure at some point, it won't be far from now, it's going to be much better, and you won't see 6 fingers, and then it's really going to be scary because we can't tell the difference, right?
I'll add to that, Iris, and I just realized. So we have the luxury right now, Mercantile, and it's because this is so new. When a client signs up with us, we're like the expert. Like whatever we say is gold. And it's like, oh, this is a pretty cool time, because that's not going to last, right? They're going to catch up to us. But that's the thing, is that it has, you have to understand the different models. Like when you're going deeper and more, what do they do? What works? What doesn't? What is making up hallucinating? What kind of curbs do you need in place, and things like that? Because to Iris's point, you start spewing out a lot of stuff because you think it's accurate all the time, and that's not quite always the understanding. So having a team that understands, is Gemini better for audio versus chat for text? What models work the best? What tokens? What costs the most? What doesn't? How is it all working? What LLM's the best? What's new? What's different? Having that team members that understand that and can keep you focused and not take you all over the place. Because it's easy when we talk to a client, oh, can you do training? Can you do accounting? And their mind starts spinning. And, you know, we're staying in our lane. Like, we're doing this, but we get them ask all the time, it probably can, but it's not us. And so really being focused, Luke talked about it, being focused in what you want, finding out where that maybe lowest hanging fruit is, where you can apply it, and then start working up to it.
Hey, just to piggyback on from Dan, Iris, you were talking about hallucinations and references. As Dan mentioned, you know, there's a ton of different applications, and you know, just to name one, because we've talked a little bit about GPT, Perplexity is one that will give you references throughout your interaction, right? So you can always click through and check the source data. You can also do that through GPT as well, using deep research. So there's, I think it's a super important point that you made, though, Iris.
Let's see. I'm going to go for another piece of advice for people if they are looking to just test out AI. Maybe they have several facilities, but they want to try at just one next quarter. What advice do you have for them? What should they use, or what should they know about when they're testing that out at one facility? James.
Again, I go back to like the benchmarking. So make sure you know where your starting point is. Especially, and I'm speaking to the data side, but same applies to marketing or anything like that. If you're tracking leads, or if you're tracking profitability or rentals, whatever that case may be, really understand where you started. And then the other thing I would say, especially when it comes to self-storage, we're not selling widgets. You know, we're not selling TVs. We're not selling a pack of gum. A lot of this stuff takes time to really evaluate. And I think too quickly, a lot of people tend to react very quickly and be more reactive than proactive. So that's the other thing I would say is give it, whatever you're going to do, give it some time. Again, benchmark it and make sure it's taking you in the direction you want to go.
With the benchmarks, what would you say is sort of the starter stat or data point, the first one or most important one that people should be tracking?
Well, the first one is always the bottom right-hand corner. I was taught this very early on the cash flow. So that obviously revenue is where I would start. But again, how do you get to the revenue? How many rentals did I have, for example, in August of 2024 versus August, September, and October, moving forward. And then also, leads. I mean, just lead generation. Again, like what Dan has mentioned, in some cases, if your salesperson is maybe all over the map, or you have different salespeople, when you're benchmarking that against those other facilities, realize that you're doing different things. And then the other thing is to be consistent. So if you're going to commit to this at that one facility, be consistent. Let's commit to it, and let's use these tools and see what we can do with it.
How long do you think they should test it before they know how it's working for them?
I always say minimum of 60 days. Again, even like you can do flash discount programs. And again, this is where we kind of help operators with our tool, because we know that coming up Labor Day weekend, I can tell you that most of the large operators are going to get very aggressive on their pricing 2 weeks prior to, because they're trying to capture 2 weeks prior to Labor Day, because they're trying to capture those last minute movers, people who are moving for school, moving for, before the weather turns. There's all these different factors, right? But if you use the data, you can see when this occurs and you can stay on top of it. So again, using it, using the data to predict when to make those changes and what to do. But again, I would say 2 months is really a good way to benchmark.
Okay, great. And Luke, so again, one piece of advice for someone looking to test something for AI at one facility next quarter, and I'll give you some follow-up questions.
Yeah.
Remember.
I think James hit it on the head, right? Talking about sample size, and that's you need to see enough result that you can pick it apart from if you were to do nothing, right? And that could come in a couple of ways. You could be looking at maybe so typically when we roll out with multi-facility portfolios, we counsel customers to pick like a DM or an RM, and we take those facilities and we run the first rollout on those, because then they can compare that part of the portfolio to other parts of the portfolio. But certainly if you're looking at a single facility, as James talked about, right, time is important. You want to give that enough time that you're going to be able to, pick the signal out of the noise, right? So pick the result out of what could just be volatility, normal volatility. And so that's what I would sort of say is just be thinking about that time period that you're looking to measure the results.
And do you have a particular starter stat of data that you recommend tracking to begin with?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to talk about our implementations, but we look at overall delinquency dollars and 90-day plus, and we look for results that reduce 90-day plus by over 90%, and we look to halve overall delinquency dollars. So that's really the primary stat that we sort of use as a success metric. So there's some secondaries there around what ratio of facilities to DM or RM do you need to be thinking about? And we customers typically are up around the 15 to 1. Some even manage to be up around 23 to 1. I mean, they're obviously larger operators, but that's another stack for larger operators to be thinking about.
Is there sort of an average that you see within the first 90 days of someone using AI Lean as far as delinquencies going down?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mentioned a couple of those, right? So those metrics that we look at, overall delinquency dollars, typically we see a halving of that overall. And that's partially because of the consistency that we talked about earlier, right? We're consistently applying the same process. And then the 90+ day, which is your really sort of stubborn challenges that often contribute to substantial bad debt. We virtually eliminate that from your portfolio.
That's fantastic. All right, Dan. So one piece of advice for someone looking to test AI at a single facility next quarter. Where should they start?
I would go, and if you have recorded calls, find a recorded call of one of your team members for sales. So a new customer calling in, drop that recording into Gemini. That's Meta's tool, and it's probably the best for audio right now. Drop it in, drop your playbook in. That's your script, right? I want you to do this when somebody calls. Drop the playbook in, prompt Gemini to say, hey, listen to this, compare it to my script, and tell me how they did. Score it 1 to 10, score it this, break it up. You can just start prompting, start playing with that, right? It's going to spit that out. Then do the due diligence, listen to the recording yourself. You manually score it, see the differences of the two, and see how that goes. Then ask it, create me a role practice based around closing or upselling or something like that. Have it create you a role practice and then test that out. Share it with the team member, let the team member listen to it and seek their feedback on what they think about it. Now, if you want to go 10 steps further, go to Gronk, which I think is Elon Musk's, and tell Gronk, give me a rude customer. Now, Gemini will give you a rude customer too. Gronk's going to give you a rude customer. Like you want it using bad words, like maybe some of your customers do. Gronk will do it. Like Gemini and all those guys have guardrails on, like they're not going to do it. But Elon said, forget the guardrails. We're going with whatever you want. And I did this once, and I said, hey, give it and be rude, like cuss at me. And whoo, it used some words, man. It was like, wow, this is impressive.
I'm going to try it now.
It was, I remember doing it to somebody, they're like, oh my God. But do that and spend time. What that's going to do is get you in. It's going to totally immerse you into the system with your person, listening to it, hearing how it scores based on how you score it. And then playing your rulebook. Now it's going to be good. It's going to use what we call NLP 1, natural language processing 1, which is no engineering. Like when we do these things, we engineer everything against your playbook, and there's a lot that goes on. But you're going to hear things. The other thing, listen for this. What we find is most our customers, and this isn't a derogatory, they don't really know their playbook. They know it. They built it. But if you look at the words in there, they contradict sometimes. I know this one was like, make sure that you do this, and then gives an example that's a complete opposite, because whoever built it wasn't really in tune to like the sales process, and the system helps guide that. It's going to tell you exactly what's going on, and then you can dig deeper. But I think with that, if you do that, you listen and watch for open ears to go, what's the difference, not discount it, you're going to get a really good understanding. And then when you share it with the team member, seek their feedback. I think you'll find that they're going to really dig it. And then that'll give you a taste of how you can then expand that by, using a company such as us or someone else that does training in that aspect.
I love that. And I'm going to ask you to elaborate more, and maybe Luke and James can chime in too. So there's, all these different things. You mentioned Gronk, Gemini, ChatGPT, Copilot. What are the different platforms better for? You said Gronk for rude customers. We have Gemini for audio.
Yeah.
What are the different platforms? Kind of, it sounds like some of them excel more in certain areas than others.
Yeah, I think I can speak to what we do, and I'm sure Luke can speak to what they do, and James the same thing. So it's for us, we take audio and even audio combined with video and dump into certain things. So right now we use two platforms to understand a call. We drop the first part of the audio in Gemini because it does a better job in the first part translating, and we drop the second part, the scoring, into ChatGPT. So we found that Gemini in this particular model does better for here versus ChatGPT's model does better for here. So it's playing around with those different tools that are out there, and I think there's thousands of them. Luke, it's not, if I'm not mistaken. I know there's lots and lots, a lot of smaller players that I would imagine are very specific in niche. Like I was listening I do this a lot. I throw YouTube in my ear when I go to bed because I hope I fall asleep and I absorb it. I wake up super smart, and I wake up and I don't really know what I heard, but I'm like, I had to absorb. Yeah, it was an hour of somebody talking about LLMs, and I'm like, I got to be smarter. And I'm like, I don't know what he said, but the first 15 minutes that I heard before I fell asleep last night was, he did demos on someone that I've never heard of that specializes in music. One's in tunes, one was something else. So there's all these different ones that are specializing in their space. And so I would imagine, I know our space, if you're doing it for some other accounting or whatever in your industry, you look for the ones that specialize in that space because they're grabbing the chunks and they're applying LLMs to it. That's going to help your prompting understand better, less hallucinations and things like that.
Awesome. Luke, do you have a favorite or one that you think is better for certain things?
Again, following Dan. I think I can tell you what I personally use. Let me just tell you a little story. We had an offsite the other day, and I had to build out some pre-read materials to get everyone on the same page, right? And it was a pretty in-depth. It's an activity that would have taken me, well over a month, right? Like building the information, doing the research, pulling all the data together, doing my own analysis. No joke, I got through this in 7 days using GPT-4o Deep Research, and that sort of 7-day period wasn't spent really researching. It was spent prompt engineering, right? And so I think, circling back to your question, Iris, I think, I'd bring up a point I made earlier around speed. Things are moving so quick that you need to be just keeping an eye out, be willing to try new things, and just be open to talk to people, right? Talk to people. Hey, I've got to do this. What have you heard? What have you seen? And sort of taking the blinders off and being open to there being other ways to, other models, other tools out there.
Yeah, I keep trying to convince someone in my house whose initials are my husband, and he's not on board with any of this AI stuff. He's not having it. I'm like, it's like I have my own private secretary. Like, what do you, it's a tool. I use a computer. It's just that next evolution, that next step, and so I'm trying to get him to open up. James, what do you think as far as different platforms?
I think it's important to experiment with the different ones. Again, like Dan mentioned, Gronk is going to give you one, probably one of the more, especially when you're dealing with the customer, the root approach. One of the things that I look at, and I'm guilty that, and I actually had this brought to my attention yesterday. I use Chat GPT all the time, right? If I'm doing some research or doing something like that. But, I was told yesterday, I really need to look at Gemini. Again, so there's different applications for different things that you're looking at. And again, for us, we partnered with a company called Visly. Again, probably somebody that not a lot of people are aware of, but it focuses more on visual insights and more analysis related. So again, I think they each all function a little bit differently. So it's finding, I think, what works best for you and what kind of gives you, and maybe using multiple tools. Maybe it's not just one. So
Yeah, it sounds like that's what Dan is doing too. Well, we are just about at our time limit. I want to thank all of you for being here today and enlightening the rest of us on these complex issues, and always looking forward to seeing all of you. We're going to see you. I believe everyone here is going to be in Las Vegas in about a month. James, I know you'll be at booth 224. Luke, do you know what booth number you'll have?
We are at 614.
Oh, well, we'll be right down the aisle from you at 674. I know Dan is going to be there too, setting up meetings, talking to people. And, certainly if you come by the booth and you want to meet Dan and he's not there, you just let me or my team know and we'll make sure he comes over and meets with you. I'm going to let you guys go. Thank you again so much for being here. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you in about a month.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks, Iris. Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye. And I'm going to bring up, Cindy. Thank you, Cindy. She corrected me. It's Vizly for Visley. So I'm going to bring up Aaliyah. Aaliyah, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Awesome session, guys. Thank you guys so much.
Is your brain full after all of that?
I know. At least 3.
GPT just to go through all that information for me and summarize it. I don't know how these guys keep up with it all. I'm so impressed.
I don't either.
So I think I know what you're going to say, but we're going to have you announce today's Starbucks gift card winner.
Absolutely.
Hold on just a second. I'll put the drum roll up there.
My favorite part.
Yeah.
The winner, to nobody's surprise, is C. Franklin with Learning Development. If you could email, I'm actually going to put it here. Let me give that for you. If you could send an email with subject line SSU winner to Mari at the SBOA, we'll make sure that we get that gift card to you. So congrats. Get a few coffees on us.
Yeah, thank you. And we'll put that email in the chat too. Oh, there it is. But yeah, we'll add it to the chat. Just let Mari know. Subject line SSU winner, and she is really awesome about getting those gift cards right out to everybody. Aaliyah, you want to talk really quick? We've got so much coming up in 1 month. We'll start with our next webinar first, though.
Next webinar. Really easy.
We're going to have, it's Thursday, August 21st. Yep. Smart facility technology for dummies. And smart facilities are right up there with AI. If you're not doing it yet, you need to be, because you're going to miss out or you're going to get left behind.
Yep.
So Mark Sierri and Ryan Stewart from Storage Defender will be here with us. They're going to break down technology at every level, helping you understand how solutions can streamline your operations, enhance visibility, and create seamless tenant experiences. Then we will be on 2 weeks after that to Las Vegas. This is going to be a really big Las Vegas show, Aaliyah. For MFA, it's their 50th anniversary. There's going to be the live concert Wednesday night. We have all kinds of great programs, speakers, roundtables, all the education we're used to seeing at SSA. Always fantastic. And we just scheduled our party. So we are going to be having another exclusive VIP member party. And this one is going to be on the patio at Mijo, modern Mexican restaurant. We're going to have tequila tastings. We also probably are going to have a little surprise venue within the venue. So you'll have to sign up, become a VIP member so you get that exclusive invitation. You'll find out more. Again, that's going to be Thursday, September 4th. So if you're still going to be in Las Vegas, you don't want to miss this party. And by signing up to be a VIP member, I just want to let you know too, that also means you're going to get invited to every party as long as you're a member. So become that annual member, get your private invitation. Seats are limited. We only allow about 70 people total into our parties. So we can guarantee you an invitation, but we cannot guarantee you a seat. So get registered. When that invitation comes, make sure you answer it right away so you and your guests can come. Yeah. In addition to the tequila tasting, of course, we're going to have great food. There'll be prizes. We're going to have a party bus that will shuttle you back and forth from Aria to the Durango Casino where the restaurant is. And what else do we have happening? There's that. And oh, do you want to introduce the video, Aaliyah, since you made it?
Please.
We're gonna
find it.
Stay with the mystery shopping video.
Yes, I am. Thank you. And there. And technical difficulties. One moment.
So we have the mystery shopping video we're going to end with today. I want to thank everyone for coming, and we really appreciate you, especially learning and development. C. Franklin, thank you again for all of your questions. I am not sure who you are. Please let us know, because
we need that first name.
Like, I should buy you a coffee. If you're going to be in Vegas, I want to meet you to find out more about who you are and what you do in the self-storage space. In the meantime, here is our mystery shopping video. Dan mentioned the mystery shopping so much in AI training, and this video is going to show you exactly what that looks like. It's got snippets from the actual training, snippets from the actual mystery shop, and Aaliyah did a great job putting this video together. Yes. So have a great day, everybody. Hopefully we'll see you in 2 weeks with Storage Defender, and another week or two after that in Las Vegas.
Bye.
As a business owner, you know how essential clear, actionable insights are for improving customer-facing operations. And yet, feedback is often too broad, shallow, or incomplete. With our AI-powered mystery shopping, transform your audit process from reactive to proactive with real-time, in-depth data that goes beyond surface feedback. Our tailored system identifies your customer experience trends, which resolves issues before they impact business and refines customer engagement strategies, all within just minutes. Simply set your key performance indicators, then let our AI do the rest. Whether you're looking at improving your customer service, sales, or employee performance, you'll get feedback that is not only thorough, but personalized to each of your customers' experiences. Our buildable and customizable packages provide evaluations from foundational to growth-focused insights as your needs grow. Here's how it works. We'll use the high-quality video and audio captured during mystery shops we complete, like this one.
Hello. How's it going? Good. Good. Coming to take a peek at the house? Yeah. Okay. Looking to buy a house, build a house, whatever. Excellent. I want a house. You want a house? We build them, so you're in the right place. Okay. What you got, Troy? Les. Steve. Nice to meet you. Steve. So, first on the model I take it, Les. Yeah, right. How'd you learn about us? Saw the signs, one of the many here. Sure, yeah.
Our detail-focused AI will analyze the recording, combing through the interactions for markers based on your specified standards.
You started with a friendly greeting. That's a good start. To enhance this, try weaving in more personal engagement. For example, when the customer mentioned seeing signs and passing through, you could have shared a light, related anecdote or inquired about their experience with other builders, deepening your connection.
Along with the AI-generated video, anyone who needs it will receive a tailored written summary, a score sheet, and an action plan, breaking down the entire interaction to help drive improvement, understanding, and consistency. Elevate your business insights with SBOA's AI-powered mystery shopping. Schedule a demo today and go from in the dark to in the know.